What's up, people? It's Cap Revev. It's August 31st, 9:35 a.m. We're looking at the S&P. Well, I'm looking at the S&P chart. And we had some sort of decision early in the pre-market, created a trade opportunity. That's where we see this little low. If you're looking at a 1-minute candlestick chart of the SPY, we had a low around 8:30-ish. And then at the open, we have a failure card. You can see there's been a sharp drop off of the RSI, which was hitting 80, right at 80. So we're down 35% or 35 RSI. And based on a 1-minute chart, it looks to me like we, 1, 2, 3. Right at the open, we did have that three quick pokes, testing the 352.27-ish resistance, just as the sorrow card at the open would basically foretell, just as planned. And guys, you can follow along, by the way, if you go to tarotfortraders.com and you check out the post for today. Just go to the forecast, type in August 31st, 2021, and they'll bring up that one. If you just put in August 31st, you might get more than 1 year. So in any case, check that out if you want to follow along. We're in that failure card. First half hour of the day roughly is represented by the failure card. I would say when we hit the roughly the 32 RSI, or maybe we get oversold a little bit, possibly right around, it's a range bound day, so possibly right around the 451.37 to 451.29-ish range. We probably pull a UE there. And then at that point, we're going to have a big shoot higher. It's the Lust card, which generally speaking is like an outrageous move. Keep in mind, on a 1-day chart with 1-minute candlesticks, it represents an outrageous move. And by outrageous, I mean like there's no logic. People are just buying. Oh, there's no logic. It's impulse. Then we have again, I probably said this on like 2 other videos at this point, but we've got that U shape between 11 and 12-ish. It's also correlated with the oppression card as the theme. So we may see both ranges. Start at the top of the range for the day, hit the bottom of the range, move back to the top, all within that hour. And then we're going to have another drop from whatever the further end of that, the right side of that U-shaped dip. We're going to have another drop through support levels, and that'll happen around midday. We'll go to a low. We'll probably hit a low actually in that U shape, come back from it, hit another low within 12 to 1-ish, and even another low, it looks like, right around the 2 o'clock hour. Give it like 10, 15, 20 minutes tops, like 15 minutes either side, 2 o'clock hour, 15 minutes at the 2:05, let's say, mark. And then we have another push higher again. The highs and the lows are very close to each other today. So, and there's a lot of like at the highs, there's bullish rotation. There may be some like positive economic data that is highlighted. Around the lows, we're going to have some like back and forth, like, volatility. And that's going to mark an opportunity down at the lows to open. I'm going to open up positions in both directions. Most likely tomorrow is a big down day. Where we start from is hard for me to tell you at this moment. I might be able to do that later on today. I have to look. Yeah, there's a trade opportunity around the low. There's a trade opportunity between like 1-ish and 220-ish, and then another trade opportunity in the last hour with a big move higher. That marks the end of a period of volatility. So it's probably going to be like a pretty like zigzaggy day, if you will. We are coming up on that range I was talking about. RSI still roughly at 30, in the 30s, the low 30s. So we probably have a bit longer to go. The fact is we have right at the open, that first half hour where we're still in this first half hour. It's the failure card. The failure card is one of the most bearish cards there is. Again, you have to keep in mind, if we were talking about a 1-year chart, that would be a lot more scary. We're talking about a 1-day chart with 1-minute candlesticks. You have to take the range into consideration. How would you know looking at a 1-day candlestick chart with these readings? How would you know if it was a much bigger drop? That's the power of SO meta analysis. You would take the monthly overview and the 1 year spread, and you would look at the interpretations and the cards of those. And when you find the correlations between the same cards in the same positions, that's when you know there's a big move. It's you can see it through all different time frames, if that makes sense. I'm pretty glad I held on to those shorts. Didn't fall victim to any of those little spikes higher yesterday. Tomorrow's going to be a harsh day, guys. So, guys, just to be clear, I mean, I'm going through market commentary right now. This is all stuff that has been on the website. I mean, I don't even know how long ago we posted the reading for today, but it's coincidence, right? It's coincidence. Yeah, that couldn't be real. I bet those people think that the center of the universe is the sun or something. You know, it's not. It's actually the self. Anyhow, that's a whole nother spiel. Fact is, guys, is that you can go and you can check out all these readings. I mean, we've got them far into the future. They actually get posted well after they've been conducted, just based on, we don't want to give away all that information so soon. But I mean, the timestamps are there. You go to the posts, you can see the accuracy. We just started written interpretations of the S&P 500 again. We were doing it every day for like years, stopped for a few months to get this business really rolling. And now we're back doing that. And those get at the end of the following day. We have somebody that goes back and reviews each sentence by sentence for accuracy. And then we rate the accuracy of that interpretation based on the number of correct sentences divided by the number of sentences. So however many sentences were made, the number that was correct divided by the number that was made, and that's how you get the average. So if there was like 10 statements made and 9 of them were correct, then I would have a 90% accuracy, if that makes sense. And these all get reviewed. They're all time stamped. We're doing readings for people for 2022. We're doing readings for people for November, December, January. You know, it really doesn't matter the time. SO meta analysis is not bound by time. You can look at patterns moving into the future and into the past. And the reason for that has to do with something called fractals, which we could go over maybe at another time. But fractals are like a pattern within a pattern. Okay, here we go, guys. It looks like we're bouncing off that level. 440, 451, 43. Now we got a sharp move higher. Poosh, just flying. One big candlestick so far. Biggest green candlestick by far of the day thus far. And that says to me we're moving into the lust card. I am sensing we have like 15 minutes. We may see a sorrow card here. It's possible that we have 3 pokes here. I think we're probably going higher at this point. But if we're not, it's going to be a few pokes and then a drop, and then we go higher. But in either case, I'm betting on the higher side right now. Either way, we end up higher from this moment. Matter of fact, might be going deeper, actually. Hard to say at this moment. This is right around where I expected it to bounce, though, as stated earlier. Looking at yesterday's sneak preview, we had a trade correlation today, as well as a sharp drop within a period of volatility correlated to today's cards. But the Hermit card was the sneak preview card for today. That's a significant, that's like a flight to safety. That card means flight to safety. So two things. It could be like a complete bearish kind of idea, flight to safety, or it could be people hopping into, protective positions, protective investments, that sort of stuff. But generally speaking, it's more of risk off kind of flight to safety. See, the theme card for today is range bound. It's the oppression card, which it speaks of range boundness. Range boundness. It speaks of being range bound. Excuse me. Oof. So I would say if we reverse here, there's still a good chance we're going further. Actually, we do have some time, about 14 minutes on this card, roughly. Right now, we're at kind of like a critical point. If we break through this, we're going lower. It looks like we're going lower, guys. Actually, that's what they do. They fake you out. So only time will say. But I can tell you based on the SO meta, if we go lower from this point and we break through the 451.30-ish range, 451.30-ish range on the S&P SPY, then we're definitely going to go a lot lower. Looks like we just did that, guys. So that failure card is actually significantly more important than just a daily, and that would line up if we look at the 1 month overview for the S&P 500. Which, by the way, guys, if you're on our subscription, if you subscribe to our mailing list on the website, you get the S&P 500 1 month overview free. It comes every month, roughly on the 21st. This first month we were a little behind. It's a new thing that we're doing, but if you sign up for subscribe to the mailing list, you'll get that free. It's definitely very helpful. It foresees all sorts of stuff that you wouldn't see coming with normal analysis. All right, we're just at that 451.31 range. It still could possibly be a reversal, but we have 12 minutes on this hour. It's possible. We're definitely gonna turn around relatively soon and do a higher. We're gonna go higher relatively soon, next few minutes, if not the turning around right here. And again, if we don't turn around right here, we go lower, then there's probably going to be a much lower level. I would say if we did go lower and break through the support that we're at, unlikely due to the oppression card as the theme. If we did, though, we'd probably be looking at something like 450.61 as the new bottom, roughly. Possibly like a weak 450.89, but 450.47 to 450.61 roughly would be the next support level down if we did break down through this. But it looks like we're coming back now. We're bouncing as expected. In the post-market or the pre-market, we did have the RSI on a 5-minute chart touch the 20 on the RSI, which really is oversold indicator on the 5-minute chart. So it's possible that we're already on our upswing from the RSI. If you look at a 5-minute chart, it's definitely helpful, guys, to look at more than one chart, like the same time period, the same stock, but different candlesticks, because different traders use different candlesticks, and also different ones will give you better indications of certain things. Like when you're looking at a trade entry point, you want to get in, you might be looking at the front of the front of like the movement, which I would say is like the smaller candlesticks. A 1-minute chart is going to give you kind of like a leading idea of where the market's going to go just in those next few minutes. 5 minutes going to do it over 5 minutes, 10 over 10. So you can get kind of like a different thing for the RSI, different support and resistance levels. All of that is important. And when you look at them together side by side, you can start to extrapolate more information. Same exact way you would do with SO Meta and like a daily chart of the S&P and then a weekly and then a monthly and a yearly that all overlap. They're all the same time period overlapped. You got a ton more data. And that's basically what my private readings for clients are. You know, extra info, as much info as it can get. We combine the astrological data in there as well. A lot of other techniques. It looks like we may very well be going lower. We're still right at that tippy point. Oh, wow. We're literally right at the tip. We might go lower, guys. I'm all short right now. Oh, we're going lower. I mean, if you look at, like I was saying, if you look at the 1 month overview chart, today is the Queen of Cups or the Princess of Cups. Last day, it's represented as the Princess of Cups. There's a high correlator card there, and an unexpected failure correlation on this day as well. But the high correlator is interesting. Let's go back and look at that chart and see how that played out. Yeah, we're going lower, guys. Oh, definitely. Yeah, we were basically at a high for the month. Basically the end of yesterday, today, the end of yesterday, but that's pretty close as far as the reading goes. And we're definitely on a deep decline at this moment. Although we are coming up on that RSI, we are coming up on those ranges that I spoke of. Looks like we tapped 451.99. The range that I said would probably be where we turn around based on where we were at the time. We have 8 minutes left. I'd say the range that we probably create support at is between 451.80, 451.86 roughly, and 450.39, between those ranges. That might have very well been the fake out. We're really close to that level. Again, when we're looking at that overview, so we have the Princess of Cups. It's an opportunity to open long positions during a decline, based on it being on a 1 month chart. That's an indication it's probably a bigger decline than just what you would use the scale of a 1 day chart for. We're looking at a 1 month. The cards represent like more like a greater magnitude of movement, because we're looking at a whole month, days of the month, rather than minutes within the day, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense, because it does to me. And then when I look at the September reading, we have the Tower card tomorrow. It's overlapping with a bunch of other things. It's equities that say we got a decline tomorrow. And then we also have, at the end of the week, we have the indolence card, which makes me think that whatever highs we reach this week are likely we're not going to reach those for quite maybe the whole rest of the month, or at least for a while, like a week or so after we hit it. Yeah, we're going to go lower, guys. But wherever we turn around, that's likely going to be the range. Actually, be right back, guys. So it appears to me that that oppression card in the theme position has some some scrying anchors, some reverse clairvoyant anchors that I utilize on top of the cards. It could be that we hit the upper range rather than there being a range and a range, but the highs and the lows are close to each other, guys. So we had a high and we're still relatively, there was a high right there at 9:30. We're at 10 o'clock. This is probably where we turn around. We did hit that 450.95, so right around that range that I was speaking of. And there's a good chance that this is where we move higher. At least we test these. Right now we're testing the 14-day moving average on the 1 minute candlesticks. I'd say that we most likely are going to test at least the 100-day, probably the 200-day moving average. So the 100-day is 451.70. 200-day moving average right now is at 451.90. We've already broken through the 14-day moving average, which was 451.30-ish. RSI is doing a U-turn, and it was overbought in the pre-market. That's something that people, new investors, new traders, you should really keep in mind, is that a lot of the indicators that would help you, they bury them in the pre and the post markets, hoping that people don't use that part of the chart to see what's happening there. So like that bounce that you might have been waiting for off of a support level that never came, it almost certainly did during hours where you weren't looking, and they know that. You can look at the extended hours, the pre-market hours, the post-market hours. You can even trade those on certain platforms, but you can look at them. It's a setting that you have to put on your whatever you're using in order to see those. But it's very important, guys. You should keep those in mind because the computers use them, the big guys use them. They basically use that period of time when the retail investor can't really do anything to position themselves to screw over as many of us as possible. That's why you want to do your best not to leave your money in the market overnight. Lots of funny business overnight. All right, guys, we'll be back. It looks like we'll be back.